Hello, in this video we are going to work on this hinge part that connects to our faceplate. So this will be one of the more difficult parts to get right. Just be aware that you might have to do it a few times or just noodle it a little bit to get it to look right. So let's look at it in the turntable. You'll see that it is connected. So this is actually connected, your front part to this part here, and there's a bit of a loft, and there's also a bevel that happens, and also you'll see here that it's straight on your helmet, and then there's a bit of like a taper that happens, so it gets smaller on this side and it's fatter on this side. Okay, so let's go to Maya and let's create a polygon pipe, and the pipe has just like how it sounds, it's a pipe. So let's do this. So it has an inside part and an outside, and so it's really useful for stuff like this. And I'm going to rotate it. $90, and I'm going to just place it close so I can get the size right. So you want to do your edits through this input section, and you don't want to do a bunch of scaling and moving around too much before you do this, because there's I've seen things act a little weird when you do like moving and scaling and placing, and then you play with the inputs. You want to play with your inputs first. You'll just get a better stable result. The first thing I would do is set this subdivisions to 8. 8 is a good number for low poly like ring objects. The reason is, let's just isolate it. If I hit 3, you'll see a view display subdivision of your geometry. See how it's still round? And if I hit 1, that will give you what your geometry actually is. But if I start reducing this down to like 4 and hit 3, you don't get a perfectly round object. You get something a little bit more wobbly. I've seen people do 6, and that's okay. You still get a somewhat good result, but for us, I think 8 would be a good number. You get a more a stable, like a more rounded shape. You don't get like more peaks and stuff like that. So let's go over here to radius and use that to scale. So I'm going to set that to 0.5. Well, it's too little. Go over here and just play around with these numbers. 0.6 I think is a good number for that, looks like. I'm just moving this down so I can see it in the silhouette together. And then I'm going to do thickness 0.25, 0.3. So 0.3 looks like a good number. So if you're unsure how this is going to smooth, you can just hit 3. And that looks pretty good, pretty close. Now I'll go to my backside. You'll be able to see how this is going to connect a little bit easier. I'm going to move this back. Even this side looks a little too big, so let me hit 3. Yeah, I think this might be too big. I'm going to bring it to 0.55. I think that will give me something a little bit better. And so this side is flat, and it looks like we'll have to do some edits for our back piece here. But let's get this part right. So I'm going to select that and then go to these vertices, select those, and then move them down. And now I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to get something like this. So this should be like a 90-degree angle, and then this should be like a nice slope, like that. Something like this. And then this back piece we'll have to edit to match that flat side. I didn't quite get it perfect there. But let's focus on this piece. So let's go to this side. So when we're placing this, we have to figure out how we're going to make this connection from here to here. So we're going to have to thicken this piece, and then we're going to rotate this. So I think in this edge to this edge will connect something like this, and we can pull this vert down here, this vert right up here, and we'll add an edge that goes through here. So I'm going to do insert edge loop, put one right in the center about there, where you can make a connection, and then these I'll move down a bit, and this will move up a bit. And let's pull these out so it's something like this. So that looks pretty good. Now, if we look at the reference, you'll see that there is a bevel to that, so we'll add that right now. So if we go over and go to the edge and double click that, you can hit Shift, right click, and go to Bevel Edge. And the fraction is the number that we need to set. So I'm going to set that to 0.2. And then look at my reference. So that's pretty close to what the reference is. So I'll keep that. You can do other things in here just so you know about it. You can add more segments, and that'll give you like a more rounded effect. I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to set that to 0. 1, I guess. And if I do that, you can change the depth, so you can go in, like you can do like a notch kind of thing. And there's other options in here too. But yeah, so let's just set that to 1, and that looks pretty good. And yeah, so I'll leave that for this video, and for the next video we'll try to connect these pieces.